Well, YouTube's looking a lot emptier than usual. So before going into the whole thing of what's happening, I'm just going to skip to that and just give you guys the solutions first. And then after that, we'll go into why we're doing what we're doing. So first and foremost, if you're not using YouTube signed in, go ahead and click on these three dots and make sure that restricted mode is set to off. Restricted mode is to help hide potentially mature videos. Unfortunately, the filter is not 100% accurate, and that also means that the filter also blocks out videos that are not age restricted. So you can have a fully monetized video and it will not show up if restricted mode is turned on. Normally, this mode is just for schools and library computers, but there's also been some changes on the back end of YouTube, so double check those settings, make sure that is turned off. And if you are signed in, it's a little bit of a different process, so we're going to go ahead and show that right now. And if you are signed in, you'll just want to click on your profile image, and once you have the drop down, you go over to restricted mode and you turn it off. And the same thing applies if you are using mobile. You're going to have an option for general. You go to general, settings, restricted mode, turn it off. And that's something everyone can do, whether you watch content or you create it, make sure it's off. And of course, if you're somehow a kid and you got to see this video, double check with your parents. That's all I can say. But restricted mode is not a real parental control. You should be using YouTube Kids and other parental controls. Restricted mode is way inaccurate to rely on in any way, shape, or form. That covers what you can do as a viewer. If you are someone who makes videos, we have one other step you can do. For that, we'll have to go to our dashboard. Once you're on your channel dashboard, you want to go over to the left side and down to settings. And then you go to your below defaults, you go to your advanced settings, and then you want to make sure that automatic dubbing is turned off. For me, this was turned on automatically, and I do not know how long that's been running. My guess is that it has been running for the past 3 months, because my videos have yet to break 1,000 views since May. I've gone the entire summer without being anywhere close to 1,000 views. So, that little distraction out of the way, what does auto dubbing do, and why do I think it's so detrimental to what's going on? Well, automatic dubbing is YouTube takes your video, it takes the closed captions that it creates from that video, and then it feeds it to an AI machine, and that AI machine reads off your video in different languages. By concept, it's pretty cool because your video can end up being seen by a lot more people across the entire world. The problem is, anyone else who's watching that video in a different language is going to end up listening to an AI voice and not me. And AI voices, especially ones generated by YouTube, are not great. And I do not recommend having this on. It's going to make you look bad. And it could end up tanking your views. The reason why it can end up taking your views is because there are two metrics YouTube cares about more than anything else in this world, which is your click-through rate and your watch time. And if you have a low click-through rate, then YouTube buries that video. And if you have a high click-through rate but a very low watch time, as in people are watching 30 seconds to a minute of a 10-minute video and then clicking off, then YouTube sees that and they stop recommending your video. Because of all that, I recommend to turn automatic dubbing off because it's going to prevent YouTube from sharing that video to people who do not speak English, and it's going to show that video to people who do, and hopefully that means they end up showing the videos to people who actually want to watch my content. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can watch other channels that have more viewers than I do and are much more established than I am, and they'll probably tell you the same thing if they have a video covering automatic dubbing. Like I said, this is something that's happening across many channels throughout YouTube, not just my own, and it seems to be a combination of factors. One big factor, and I do apologize in advance, I'm going to flashbang you real quick with a website through YouTube's official blog, which I will link down below. They are expanding their built-in protections to teens on YouTube. Basically, they have an AI machine that's trying to determine whether or not you are under the age of 18. And basically, depending on your viewing habits and what you watch or what you don't watch, YouTube is going to take a guess as to whether or not you are under the age of 18. And if YouTube deems that you are under the age of 18, then you will not be able to see age-restricted content. And after that point, if you do want to see age-restricted content, you then have to provide YouTube a credit card or government-issued ID. And I'm not going to say anything on that matter, but that's the current trend right now. And it's because of the system that seems like it's making a big impact on viewership across YouTube. Even though it's only meant to block age-restricted content, we saw something with the restricted mode. If you have restricted mode on, like I said, it blocks videos that are 100% monetized and not age-restricted. What are the chances that this new system is using either restricted mode, which again, YouTube claims they're not, or it's using a separate filter that is very similar to restricted mode? There are many channels out there that simply do not exist with that filter on. And again, this is very worrying because for a lot of other channels, this has dipped viewership down by 50 to 75%, which is something we haven't really seen before. And if we have, it hasn't lasted nearly as long as it has this time around. And one other thing to look at in terms of evidence is this blog by Jeff Geerling, where he looked at analytics for a number of different channels that are, well established and have millions of viewers. And it's these metrics right here that we want to look at. From the first Jeff Geerling channel, we see the viewership has gone down drastically. Same thing for Geerling Engineering, same thing for Level 2 Jeff. And I know you're looking at this bottom graph. What the heck is the bottom graph then? This bottom graph is your like to dislike ratio. And this is where I have a problem. Because this being up means that there are more likes to dislikes. And if that's the case, then YouTube should be sharing your videos around to more people. But as we're seeing, that is not the case. The views are not changing based on your like to dislike ratio. Even on these massive channels that have a wider audience than I do. The like to dislike ratio is purely cosmetic at this point. You cannot convince me otherwise. This graph basically confirms that. And that leads me to the other feature that YouTube added, which is the hype button. And the hype button is meant to help channels that are under 500,000 subscribers be seen by more people, which I would argue is what the whole point of the like button was. But now it's its own button and it has its own currency. I have no doubt that between the hype button and these protections for teenagers, that it is tanking viewership across the website, as well as potentially the setting with auto dubbing being turned on for one reason or another. That can also be affecting viewership. This is all we know. These are all the current running theories, and we just have to make do with what we have for now. With that said, if you haven't seen my videos or my channel in a while and you are subscribed, I do recommend you check out my channel and just make sure that you are up to date with the videos that I made. And if any of them interest you, if you haven't seen them, consider watching them and help me out that way, as well as sharing this video around and sharing other videos that I make on this channel. I do not intend to be a YouTube deep dive channel. I really do not want to do that. I just want to cover video games at the end of the day. So if that interests you, please check out my channel, give my channel a chance. YouTube doesn't, so yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoy what I do. Hopefully this video is very helpful and we can find a more solid solution. Channel-wise, there may be other things that I will announce in the near future, but that's all I have to say for now. Until then, I am Mr. Rain. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.